The First World War, also known as the Great War, was one of the deadliest conflicts in human history. The war lasted from 1914 to 1918 and saw millions of soldiers and civilians losing their lives. While the war was a turning point in history and marked the end of an era, it was also a time of immense tragedy and horror. Here are the 10 most terrifying figures about the First World War. 1. Total number of casualties. The total number of casualties during the First World War is estimated to be around 37 million. 2. Death toll among soldiers. Around 16 million soldiers from various countries lost their lives during the war. This figure includes those who died from injuries, disease, and those who were declared missing in action. 3. Civilian casualties. Civilians also suffered greatly during the war, with an estimated 11 million civilians losing their lives. This figure includes those who were killed in bombing raids, starved to death, or died from diseases as a result of the war. 4. Trench warfare casualties. The trench warfare that was a feature of the First World War resulted in millions of casualties, as the harsh conditions in the trenches took a heavy toll on soldiers. 5. Use of chemical weapons. The First World War was the first conflict in which chemical weapons were used on a large scale. The use of poisonous gases such as chlorine and mustard gas resulted in thousands of casualties, both among soldiers and civilians. 6. Loss of life among young soldiers. A large percentage of the casualties in the First World War were young soldiers, many of whom were conscripted and sent to the front lines, and was a tragedy that had a lasting impact on the families and communities that were affected. 7. War-related diseases. The war also led to the spread of diseases such as typhus and cholera, which claimed the lives of thousands of soldiers and civilians. 8. The number of wounded soldiers. The number of wounded soldiers was staggering, with millions of soldiers suffering from physical and mental injuries as a result of the war. Many of these soldiers would never fully recover from their wounds, and suffered from physical and psychological scars for the rest of their lives. 9. The use of weapons of mass destruction. The First World War saw the use of weapons of mass destruction, including tanks, machine guns, and artillery. These weapons resulted in widespread devastation and loss of life. 10. The impact on civilians. The impact of the First World War on civilians was far-reaching and devastating. Millions of civilians were displaced from their homes, while others were left to face hunger, disease, and poverty in the aftermath of the conflict. In conclusion, the First World War was a time of immense tragedy and horror, with millions of soldiers and civilians losing their lives as a result of the conflict. These terrifying figures serve as a reminder of the devastating impact of war, and the importance of working towards peace and stability in the world. Thanks for watching.